The Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 93 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Another week, another team, another preview.
93, the Zibanejad of podcasts.
Oh, how fitting.
Right?
The Doug Gilmore.
All right, Vince, what do you have? You have no one. Excellent. This man is prepared, and he was on mute, so I'm just going to unmute him there. And we're
I was on mute. Davidov.
Oh!
Well done,
Yes,
sir.
yes,
Well
yes,
played,
yes,
well
yes.
played. I see you did your research on time.
Yeah.
Guys, the New York Rangers, that's on tap tonight.
You know what? This is a very interesting team to talk about. There was such a cloud over the Rangers last year of negativity, and there's a big change happening. You know, you have a full year of a couple of these guys. There's a coaching change, new face behind the bench there. We also have like guys like Trouba out. The old leadership group is basically out. Keandre Miller out. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, almost like a new culture.
Yeah. Well, at least they're trying. Let's see what our guest has to say about that.
Yes, so before we introduce our guest, let's give everybody, the listeners, an idea of the rundown of how the preview works. We're going to start with a little intro and a team overview, roster lineups and breakdowns, goaltending outlook, power play and top scorers, and breakout sleepers and busts, but that'll be like a mixture of
over-unders.
Like a rapid fire of over-under points or goals depending on the player, and prospects to watch, and last but not least, season prediction and hot takes.
Awesome.
So, without further ado, let's do this.
Yes.
Like Rempe, our guest holds no punches. He's a fellow member of THPN and the host from the Blue Seats podcast, known as J Fizz, Jimmy Fanizzi. Welcome, Jimmy.
First of all, I gotta say, not only is your guys' intro absolute fire, but you guys probably have one of the more professional setups that I've ever seen any other podcast. I wish I had that type of setup, but what can you do? But I really appreciate you guys having me on. How you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. Look good and play good, right? Is that the expression?
Just no. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. That might be a better one.
Close enough. And by the way, real quick before we get started, you were this close to actually get you pronounced my last name the Italian way. That's how it's supposed to be said in Italian. So good work. I'll give you that one.
Thank you. I'm a fellow Italian. Actually, Vince is too. We're brothers.
There you go. That's it.
And then we inserted a Greek in between us.
Yeah, we have an adopted Greek brother here.
So, Jimmy, why don't you tell our listeners where we could find you, what you work on, promote your stuff for a minute here so everybody knows who they're talking about.
Yeah, so my name is Jimmy. I host From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast, and a little bit of a surprise, debuting a brand new look for season 3.
Wow.
The logo used to be red, and now it's going to be blue. I figured after 2 years of doing the show, red didn't really seem that fitting, so we updated it to a nice little royal blue like the Rangers do on the ice that you see on home ice on MSG. So a little bit of a new look for season 3, a little bit of an early preview for those of my fans that are watching or listening out there. But you can find me pretty much on X and Instagram at BlueSeats94. You can find me on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, basically wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am everywhere. And you can also send me fan mail if you have any questions you want to submit via email. You can send me an email from theblueseats@gmail.com.
And if I may just add, he has a his most recent video, I think it's your most recent one, is whether or not the Rangers should keep Panarin because he's on the last year of his contract.
Wow.
So that was a good one. I'll let the listeners tune in to find out what you had to say. But yes, definitely tune into that episode.
Guys, make sure you follow, subscribe, hit that little bell button so you're notified whenever Jimmy's stuff and our stuff comes due. So at least you could give him a follow there and give us a follow as well because God knows we could need it.
We all need something nowadays, don't we?
Yeah.
All right, shall we start, guys?
Go ahead.
All right, so
floor is yours.
give us your take, like your overall take on this team heading into the season. There's been a lot of turnaround. There's been a few additions, like Gavrikov. Are they trending up? Are they trending down? Or are they stuck somewhere in the middle? What's your overall take on the Rangers going into the 2025-2026 season?
That question was initially tough for me to answer at first because I didn't know how to respond. Considering what we got last year from this team, the easy answer for some fans out there might be they may be trending in the wrong direction, so some may say down. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to say they're going to be somewhere in the middle, only because, yes, on paper they look better, but I still don't really trust this team fully yet. I need to see them on the ice first before I can say definitively whether or not they are trending in the right direction. Because it really is tough for me to say, because you saw a lot of big changes with Keandre Miller being gone, Chris Kreider being gone, Jacob Trouba being gone last year, the works. A new head coach, Mike Sullivan, is at the helm. He knows how to work with veterans, so maybe he can help fix Mika Zibanejad for this upcoming year. So, for me, I know playing it safe might not be ideal for some fans out there, but that's just how I feel right now. I'm going to say somewhere in the middle until I see the action on the ice from opening puck drop this year.
You know, that's fair, right? I mean, yeah. I think it should be fair. Personally, I'm excited for the Rangers this year. I really like the changes. Like you said, on paper, they look like they've improved on paper. I know they lost a couple of pieces, right, like Kreider, and they lost another piece like Keandre Miller. But I love the Gavrikov thing. I think Cooley's coming is just gonna take another step here. You know, Lafreniere, we've been waiting a while for him to come out.
He's going to be the big question.
This is his 24-year-old season. Yeah. This is usually the year they take a leap. So
especially the bigger men, right? The bigger men take a little bit longer. So I'm expecting Lafreniere to take a step forward. But I respect the fact that you are playing it safe in the middle over there.
You know what? Had they not made a coaching change, maybe it's a little easier to say trending down.
Yeah.
But given the fact that there's a coaching change and that coach has a nice reputation, it kind of leaves a slimmer of hope.
That's kind of where I was going to go, considering the fact that you let go of Peter Laviolette, which I was a big fan of that hire from the jump. But considering the fact that we saw last year that the players kind of gave up on him, it was time to move in a different direction. And now you bring in Mike Sullivan, a guy who's won back-to-back Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins, who, by the way, he has to face on opening night at MSG, which is going to be big television. I can't wait for that. But look, new coaching regime, new faces, so it's definitely going to be an interesting season, that's for sure. But exciting, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
From a general perspective, is this a team we can rely on for fantasy purposes? And now, like, we mostly deal with goals, assists, and points, and saves, and shutouts and wins. So, from like the generic point of view, can we rely heavily on the New York Rangers in terms of fantasy?
That's where you have to be careful, because the operative word would be heavily. I'm not going to go that far.
Okay.
If you're going to bet on them this year with fantasy, bet on them with caution, because, again, you just don't know what you're going to get. Look, I don't expect them to have the kind of year that they did last year, but just on the cautious side of things, I wouldn't go heavy on this team in fantasy.
Sounds fair to me.
All right, so let's talk about the top six, because the top six is really where the fantasy juice comes in usually. So, you know, how do you kind of see the top six playing out, Jimmy? Do you think that I mentioned a couple of names before, right? The JT Millers, the Coolies. But what do you think is going to be Sullivan's top 6 next year? And don't worry if you're wrong. We're wrong all the time on this podcast. But I'd rather take your take on that.
So it's okay. We're all even.
What do you think the top 6 is going to look like next year?
Well, I actually took the liberty of writing down notes for a change on my phone here, so I had to do some research before I hopped on here. A potential top 6 fantasy lineup could look like this. You could have Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Gabe Perreault, and then you can flip-flop between either Will Cooley or Brendan Othman. Now, depending on how much playing time Gabe Perreault and Brendan Othman get, that remains to be seen. We don't even know if they're going to be on the roster at the beginning of opening night, so that remains to be seen too. But if you're looking at a top 6 like this, me personally, I would probably give Will Cooley a bit more of an advantage over Brendan Othman, given the fact that he had an unbelievable year last year. He got a contract extension of 2 years, which it's about damn time. I was waiting for them to re-sign him. I guess they were sort of waiting to trade Keandre Miller in order for that signing to happen, which I can kind of see why they waited now. So, hey, good for Will Cooley. I would give him the slight edge over Brendan Othman, only because I still don't know what exactly I'm getting. I know he's still a young kid, just like Gabe Perreault is, but if I'm being honest, I don't even think I would put Gabe Perreault in the top 6 yet. He still has not played a full season. He played a handful of games at the end of the year last year, but he needs to play a full season in order for me to be convinced that he can be a top 6 anything. I would put JT Miller in the top 6 because when he got traded back to the Rangers from Vancouver, he was excellent. And I'm willing to eat my words on that because I said on my own show that I didn't want JT Miller back because I've heard that, he was a locker room cancer, he was an agitator, nobody really liked him in the locker room. So I didn't want that to be the culture for the Rangers for the rest of the year. And yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong from the moment that trade happened, because ever since he came back, he has been a proven leader on this team. He gets in guys' faces, he calls them out, he holds guys accountable, which is what you want on a team like this, on a team that's trying to just get back in the damn postseason. Yeah. So for me, I would put JT Miller in the top 6 over Gabe Perreault and Brendan Othman because I don't know what I'm getting from those two. But Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Cooley, I'm more than fine with that being the top 6. I expect big things from all those guys, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
And I think JT Miller was a point-per-game player with the Rangers.
Well, I was just going to say, like Jimmy said it right. The guy holds you accountable. He's up in your face about it. He challenges you, whether he does it nicely or not nicely. Some people might not like that style. And maybe that's what happened in Vancouver.
I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
Yeah,
but
not at all.
It's New York. You don't got to be nice.
Yeah. Well said.
Trocheck worries me a bit in the top 6.
Really? He's like a face-off machine.
Yeah, face-off machine, but he worries me a bit. But the problem is there's no one behind besides Trocheck and JT Miller. We have there's no other centerman that
there's Zibanejad.
Or is there someone that could push up in the middle, Jimmy? Because right now I see Zibanejad as a winger now on daily faceoff. They have their daily. But do you see Zibanejad pushing Trocheck out of the first line centerman and taking it back?
I don't, because you saw that he played better last year as a winger, which to me, I'm still trying to add that up because he is a natural center. But ever since he got moved to the wing position, his game has gotten so much better. So I'm curious to see if they're going to keep him there, or if Coach Sullivan is going to continue to flip-flop between having Zibanejad and Trocheck as your centers. So I don't see an argument with Zibanejad pushing Trocheck out of there yet. I need to see it first.
What's nice is the flexibility of JT Miller and Zibanejad both being able to play center or wing. So
yeah,
Sullivan has that to play with.
Yeah, you have like a little bit of Swiss Army knife in those guys where you can move them around.
100%. Yes.
Is there from a fantasy perspective? Obviously, we're talking about points here. Is there somebody this year that you would say might jump higher and make an impression that didn't do it last year?
Alexis Lafreniere. I don't think there's any debate on that, in my personal opinion. I do not expect Alexis Lafreniere to have the season he did last year. Last year was a huge down year. I know that Ranger fans are becoming very impatient with Alexis Lafreniere. It was the first year of a 7-year extension. Can we all relax? It was 1 year of a 7-year contract. It's the second year of the contract. I think Alexis Lafreniere is going to be fine. Yes, he had that breakout year back in, 21, 22, something along those lines. I was actually at the game against Columbus in November of that year, in which he single-handedly won it, not only tying it in the final seconds, but winning it in the shootout. That's one of the greatest games I've ever been to, but it was also one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen, but that's neither here nor there. But to me, the answer is simple. It's Alexis Lafreniere, and quite frankly, I don't think it's even close. You could argue Adam Fox too, but I give the slight edge to Alexis Lafreniere because I know Ranger fans are becoming very impatient with him, but I do expect him to make a big jump this year.
Yeah, Lafreniere only got 30 points last year, 13 goals, 17 assists, which compared to his other years is a bit low, but with I'm going to use the dumpster fire that it was last year in the Rangers with the GM throwing people on waivers, throwing people. I mean, it had to have a disruption in the locker room, especially when you're dealing with guys like Trouba, Kreider.
Your captain.
It had to have an effect whether we liked it or not. So I do believe Lafreniere he's gonna come out this year and say this is my come out year in the NHL.
Jimmy, you mentioned defensemen. You mentioned Adam Fox. Looking at your defensive lineup right now, who's the second defenseman after Fox? I mean, we're all expecting Fox to be somebody that it produces points, right, in the league, and he's always been a good point. Is there anybody else that you could say second power play guy or anyone else that could produce points on that defense?
Braden Schneider. I mean, is there really even a discussion here? I mean, did you see what he did last year? Did you see what he did the year before? Now, I know numbers-wise it may not be all that impressive, but physically, Braden Schneider has been terrific. I mean, he makes the plays that are sneakily so underrated that nobody talks about. His physical game on the power play especially is something to watch for. That's going to be my big X factor. So for me, it's Braden Schneider, and I don't think it's even close.
I like that. That's
do you think
good insight?
Do you think because of Braden Schneider, it made Keandre Miller like expendable? Or was it just?
I really don't think that's really fair to say. To be honest with you, I really don't even know how to answer that question because what did you really get with Keandre Miller? You really didn't get that much of anything. So what kind of flexibility was there? I mean, look, I liked Keandre Miller. I wish him well. I really, really do. But I do have that feeling he's going to haunt the Rangers for the next 8 years. We shall see. But I truly don't know how to answer that because I just don't think there was any flexibility at all with Keandre Miller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I personally, I think Gavrikov brings what Keandre brought and then some. Like, I think Gavrikov is a highly underrated player for 100%. So long. And I think if he does complement Adam Fox, if he does play on that pairing with Adam Fox, first of all, the 5-on-5 points might be higher, but also he just complements Fox so well. He's going to free Fox to do his thing while he takes on the more all-round role.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. And the contract that he signed too, 7 years, $49 million, that's basically a pay cut. He could have gotten an 8-year, 9-year contract for more money and went somewhere else. But no, he took a team-friendly deal to come to the Rangers to play with Adam Fox. Absolutely. That is dedication. And I haven't watched him enough, but from what I have seen from him, he is an extremely underrated defenseman that is going to bring the best out of Adam Fox.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Jimmy, the first year in his $11.5 million contract, Igor Shesterkin. I mean, Rangers have been, how shall we say, blessed in nets with Lundqvist and then with Shesterkin. Last year, 61 games, 27 wins, 29 losses, 905 save percentage, 2.86 goals against. These are not Shesterkin numbers. Is he going to come back to those numbers of 9.35, 2.07 of goals against, or is he going to? I wouldn't say struggle because, like I said, last year with the Rangers, there was a lot of outside noise that made it affect players. So, like, we're not questioning Igor Shesterkin, right? Like, he's going to play 60 to 65 games this year.
Right. Well, let me answer it this way. It's not his fault. His defense was absolutely terrible last year. And look, has he given up soft goals? Yes. He could be much better. I am not absolving Shesterkin of anything. Please do not get me wrong. His numbers show that he could have played a lot better. But at the same time, what support did he have? Zip, nada. What support did Henrik Lundqvist have? Zip, nada. Henrik Lundqvist single-handedly carried the Rangers to the Stanley Cup Final in 2014.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
Yeah.
Igor Shesterkin is single-handedly carrying the team on his back. That's not fair to him. Look, do I expect the defense to be better in front of the net now that Gavrikov's in the fold? I 100% do. Yes. But at the same time, Igor Shesterkin can play a little bit better. There are times where playing the puck has been questionable. He gives up those soft goals that you say, oh, really? You got to give that up. But at the end of the day, Igor Shesterkin is going to be fine. He's one of the best goalies in the NHL for a reason, and I expect him to continue to be that way.
I think what happens when you have a star goaltender is that the second they even drop just a little bit, you notice it because they're so important to the team. And they make you think like they had a terrible year, but he still had a 900 save percentage, goals against average under 3. He still had 34 quality starts. So like 6 steals. I mean, he still had a good season. But based off Shesterkin standards, maybe it wasn't great, but it was good.
Go look at Philadelphia. All their goalies combined, I think, doesn't reach 900 save percentage.
Nope.
Right?
I mean, we know firsthand what it's like, right?
That goaltending situation was a disaster last year.
Oh my God, yeah. And what about Jonathan Quick as coming back as a backup? Is he a good, like last year, he was a phenomenal cover blanket for Shesterkin. Do you expect to see the same this year?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I do expect more of the same from Jonathan Quick as a backup. Look, he signed a 1-year contract to come back this year. Who knows if this might be the last year of Jonathan Quick's career. Maybe he comes back next year for a 20th year and he retires then. We do not know. But I fully trust this Rangers goalie tandem over, honestly, any goalie tandem in the NHL, if I'm being honest with you. Because, look, I know people are going to say, oh, what about Connor Hellebuyck? What has he done in the playoffs? Besides the first round this past year, what has Connor Hellebuyck done? He folds in the playoffs just like any other freaking year. I trust Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick in the playoffs over anybody. And that's just not just me being biased. Go look at the numbers. That tandem is going to do big things. Igor Shesterkin's playoff numbers. Look, say what you want about the Rangers' playoff record as of recently. It's not Shesterkin's fault. It's not Quick's fault. We haven't even seen Quick play in a playoff game, which I would still love to see. I want to see him get at least one or two more games in before he retires. So I trust both those guys with my life, and I take them over anybody in the NHL.
Absolutely. I think it's probably the best goaltending tandem in the NHL.
Shesterkin this year will be in the Vezina conversation. I don't see him not being back. I see him having a bounce back season, and
I like your bold take sometimes. You know,
the addition of the addition of Gavrikov is going to stabilize that core in the back. It's going to help.
I think it's more the whole new system that Sullivan's going to bring in.
That's the other thing.
It's going to be a system where Sullivan's known to be a player coach. He's going to come in, he's going to settle things down, and he's going to make things simple for some players for the team. And I feel his system will benefit all the players on the Rangers this year.
All right, so moving on from stopping pucks to scoring pucks. The easiest way to score a puck
Score a puck.
Score a puck. No, score a goal in the NHL. I mean, not maybe other than the empty net, I guess, is a power play. What I'm trying to say is a terrible segue to power play discussion. All right, let's pretend that was a great segue. But
and you call this professional.
So remember when we said "fake it till you make it"? Well, there's a glimpse.
Too hard on yourself, sir.
Okay, so back to the power play. There's a lot of pieces that can move in and out. I know Trocheck spent a lot of time on the power play, then lost a bit of time on the power play when they were struggling. Is there a fixed starting power play one unit? Or do you think it's up for grabs, especially now with Sullivan?
Considering the way the power play played last year, anything's up for grabs, man. I mean, their power play ranked 28th last year. That's terrible. You don't expect... Look, I know the power play's been a weakness for the Rangers for many years, but you didn't expect it to be that bad last year. Their strong suit's their penalty kill. It continues to be a strong suit, but we're not talking about their penalty kill. Do I think there's a fix for it? Yes, but if I'm being honest, I don't know what that fix is yet. Maybe you can give Alexi Lafreniere more time on the top power play unit with Zibanejad and Panarin. You can flip-flop here and there, but I truly don't know what the fix is going to be until I see what Coach Sullivan is capable of doing. I know he works very well on the power play, so there might be some improvements here and there. But again, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, I have to see it on the ice first. Period.
And like speaking of Sullivan, we saw the work he did with the grittier offensive forwards like Rust in Pittsburgh, and the three of us are kind of in a bit of an agreement in saying Cooley kind of reminds us of what Russ did with Pittsburgh, and we think that maybe he can bring that out of Cooley in New York. Do you see him as a dark horse to take over a spot on power play one possibly, or is that really too much of a long shot?
Oh, that's not a long shot at all. I mean, again, did you see what Will Cooley did last year? Will Cooley's got a couple power play goals. Why not give him some power play minutes on the first line? I would have no issue with that whatsoever. And like you said, considering what Sully did with Rust last year, if he can do that with Will Cooley and he gets top line power play minutes, that kid's going to be dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, that we kind of mentioned it, I don't know, was it last week? How if you add a couple of minutes, I think he only played 15 minutes of ice time last year. If you make that 17 to 18, I mean, we're talking some serious numbers. So, yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. I definitely think that fans should keep an eye on, like Jimmy said at the beginning, just to see how Sullivan decides to roll things out. Right? Take a look at the preseason stuff. Take a look at the first 10 games or so. See how the power play units are shaking out and if there's an improvement there or not. And then you could kind of maybe like target some of these guys because, like, I don't know, Daily Faceoff has Lafreniere, JT Miller, Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox up there, like a heavily loaded top line. We don't know if Sullivan's going to do that necessarily, but he did it in Pittsburgh. He had a Malkin, he had a Crosby, he had a Rust, he had a Letang and Carlson, I guess.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Sullivan. Last year at Pittsburgh, that power play struggled, and he had all the big names. He had the Letangs, the Carlson, the Crosby, the Malkin. So it'll be interesting how, because if you look at it on paper, Rangers have all the ingredients to have a number one power play. They have a quarterback in Fox. They have Panarin, who's a shooter and passer, and then they got JT Miller. Like, they have the ingredients to be a very good power play. But sometimes it's unexplainable why they were 28 last year. Like, it baffles me.
Okay, now for some fun stuff.
Yes, finally.
Fun stuff.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, by the way, I
That's my Greek
just
accent coming
noticed that like our drawing is red and black, and that's only because we didn't have a blue marker at our disposal, not because we don't know what the Rangers logo looks like.
I literally did it like 3 seconds before you came on, Jimmy. So I do apologize for the poor penmanship there. I thought it was pretty cool.
I'll let it slide this one time. It's okay.
We'll give Nick a gold star. We'll give Nick a gold star at the end of the show. Okay?
Yeah, just like daycare again. All right, so I have some over-unders for you. All right, this is going to be rapid fire questions. You say over or under, and we're going to actually post these on social media afterwards. So make sure what you're saying is true.
Hey, look, who knows? Half of them might be wrong. Like, I'm half wrong most of the time anyways. But no,
exactly.
in all seriousness, let's get at it. Let's go.
All right, Gabe Perreault plus or minus, so over or under 39.5 points.
I'm going to go under on that one. I'm going to say close to like 25, 26.
All right. JT Miller, over under point per game.
Over under a point per game, you said?
81.5 points, let's say.
Oh, that's tough, man. I'm going to go slightly over. I'm going to say 85.
I love it. I own shares of him. I don't actually own the person. I own shares of him. All right. In a couple
You
of
own
my
stock.
leagues.
All
I own
right,
stock
okay.
In JT Miller. So I love that answer. Thank you, Jimmy. All right.
problem.
Alexis Lafreniere, over under 53.5.
I said he was going to have a better year than last year. I'm going over. Alexi
Ooh, I like
Lafreniere
it.
is going to have a 65-point year.
Wow, I like that.
Love it.
I like it.
Love it. All right. Adamo Fox.
Oh gosh.
Adam Fox.
No.
Over under 70.5 points.
For Adam Fox, you said?
That's right.
Yeah. He had 61 points in 74 games last year.
So he was on pace for around that
Yeah.
65, 70 points.
And this is over under what? I couldn't hear you before. I apologize.
70.5.
70.5. I'm going to go over. I'm going
I-
to say 80.
Wow. I love it.
I think Gavrikov has a huge impact on Fox's offensive.
Yes.
Listen, he has all the talent in the world,
Yeah.
right? So I think that with a good
Gavrikov
coach in
will
there.
definitely bring out more offense than Adam Fox than we saw last year. 100%.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love the take.
I mean,
love
in the
it.
last 3 years, his average ended up being 74
This
points.
is supposed to be rapid fire, okay? Rapid fire.
Sorry.
Will Cooley, over under 50.5. So is he going to do better basically than last year?
Slightly over 55.
Love it. Mika Zibanejad.
Ooh, the wild card.
Over
This is
under.
really the X factor for the Rangers. This guy can have a huge impact as to where this team goes next year.
Over under 74.5.
It took me a while. I'm gonna go over on this one, but I'm not gonna say how many yet. I'm gonna save that for the end.
All right.
Because I got a hot take that some of you may not agree with,
Oh, all right.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll save it for the end. Wow.
but I am going to say over for now.
All right.
So for listeners, this is going to be posted on the socials throughout the week. So if ever you want to go back and see what it is, just go on our socials, and I'll be sure to tag from the Blue Seats, and he'll have access to. I'm sure he'll share it as well. So moving on.
So, Jimmy, quick. Your prospects, most of them right now are on the team. We talk about Lafreniere, we talk about Cooley, Ottoman, Berard, Gabe Perreault. Do you see any of them? Like Gabe Perreault might get a shot. Like you said, Ottoman might get a shot. Brett Berard, where do you see? Are these guys progressing in the right direction where they can crack this lineup? Or are you feeling like the prospect pool is a bit on a downward spiral?
Oh, I think the prospect pool's been fine. I mean, if you're going to ask me who has more of a shot to be on the roster full time this year, I'm going to lean more towards Brennan Othman more so than Gabe Perreault, because Brennan Othman played almost half the year last year. And from what you saw some pretty promising flashes. I mean, I know he didn't score, but he does have that potential. He has been a hyped up prospect for a really, really long time. And just give him a chance, and I think Brennan Othman will play a full season with the Rangers. I do expect Gabe Perreault to get some time on this team, maybe more towards the latter half of the 25-26 season, maybe sometime in 2026 we'll see Gabe Perreault. But overall, though, I think the prospect pool's been fine. I mean, there's really nothing that you can say about these prospects that make you say, oh, they're not going to be good for a while, get them out of here. No, you like what you see.
Yeah.
And newly acquired Scott Morrow, does he crack the lineup? Does he have a chance?
Not this year, I don't think. If there is a possibility of that, maybe sometime in March or April when they do call up some of these prospects up. So maybe we'll see him then. But more than likely, you may see him in the 26-27 year.
Yeah, another offensive defenseman that plays could run a power play really. So
Yes.
great player to have.
That's it for prospects.
All right then.
All right.
So this is yours. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
Sure, go ahead. So, final thoughts. I mean, where do you realistically see this team finishing in the standings? Now, just to give you a little glimpse, we've previewed the Hurricanes and the Devils so far. And the Hurricanes guest, Zach Martin, had the Carolina Hurricanes finishing first. And Neil from the Devil State of Mind podcast had the Devils finishing second to the Hurricanes finishing first.
In the Metro
In the Metro, of course.
division wise, where do we see New York standing in your eyes by the end of the season? And obviously, a lot could happen, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm going to be way more realistic than I was last year when I foolishly picked them to go to the Stanley Cup final, and I was dead wrong, and I will fully admit that right now. So I'm going to be more realistic than that. First of all, I will say that as much as it pains me to say it, Carolina will win the Metro again until proven otherwise because I trust Rod Brind'Amour. He's a great coach, and Carolina got tremendously better in the offseason. The Devils, I think, got better, but I would like to see a little bit more from them. I do have them finishing second, and this might come as a bit of a surprise here, but based on what I've seen last year from this team, I have the Capitals finishing third because this is Ovi's last year in the NHL. And he just broke Gretzky's record. This is a man on a mission this year, and I think he's going to go out there and shut even more haters up. And this Capitals team with Charlie Lindgren is nothing really to sneeze at. And look, I know people are going to question their goaltending tandem, but honestly, with the Capitals surprising everybody the way they did last year, I wouldn't count the Caps out. So I have the Caps finishing third, and then as far as the Rangers are concerned, I do have them back in the playoffs, but I do have them as a first wildcard team. So they will be back in the playoffs, but they will be a wildcard team.
Wow, for a moment I thought you were going to put Philly and Pittsburgh in front of them.
God forbid I put anything
Islanders?
Philadelphia related. Just saying.
We need a Philadelphia.
In all
guest.
Yes,
in all
definitely.
seriousness, though, I love the city of Philadelphia. It's awesome. I just don't like the sports teams.
That's a fair take. Okay, we're ready for your bold prediction. I'm assuming it was about Zibanejad.
Yes. Remember how I mentioned, you mentioned, what was his point total again you said earlier?
74 and a half.
What was it?
74 and a half.
Mika Zibanejad's going to have a 100-point year.
Wow.
I have that feeling that Mike Sullivan is going to unlock something in Mika Zibanejad like we've never seen before, and he's going to be even more motivated now that Chris Kreider is out the door. You know, I know those two were close, but now that he's with Anaheim, I have a feeling that a part of his game is going to be unlocked like we've never, ever seen before. Mika Zibanejad, in my personal opinion, and again, hey, I could be wrong on this. I could be totally wrong. But I just have that strong gut feeling that we're going to see a Mika Zibanejad like we've never seen before, and he will have a 100-point season.
I think that's the bold prediction that we haven't had yet.
Yes, exactly. And
was
just to
awesome.
give the listeners an idea of how bold this is, Zibanejad's best point record is 91 points. And one other time,
only 2 years ago.
and only one other time had he had a pace over 90 points, and he was pacing for 108 points in 2019-2020. Other than that, it's been a point per game or less. So 100-point season is definitely a bold take.
But
I'm
possible.
shocked.
But possible.
Possible. It's been done. Well, it's been almost
It's
done.
been paced.
It's been paced.
I like it. I like it.
Hey, look, the sky's the limit with the new coach, and
But that's the big X factor, right? I mean, the coach comes in. He's a veteran. He's won before. He's the type of person that tends to grab these players and give them roles, and those players excel in those roles. Like we talked about Russ. Like we talked about maybe Cooley's going to be that player. Like we talked about Gavrikov unlocking Fox, right?
look at the season Raquel just had as well.
Raquel, who was a forgotten man for a while, right? And Sullivan knows how to work these guys. So I think that it's not it's a bold take. It's a very bold take, but I like the thought process, and I think Sullivan, if anybody could do it, Sullivan could do it.
Jimmy, my final question: the Chris Kreider trade. How is it? How is it coming along at the Ranger? Like with Ranger fans, with like, was this a thing that had to be done? Like, what's the take on that?
I definitely feel it was handled a lot better than Jacob Trouba was last year. But I will say, you do have half the fan base that is absolutely bawling their eyes out because they loved him so much. But you also have half the fan base that's saying, good riddance, you didn't really do much anyway. No matter how you slice it, look, you can say what you want. Chris Kreider was a great Ranger. He was a great Ranger. 13 years. He basically leads in almost every statistical category. Probably going to have his number up on the Raptors, although that's another controversial take. But that's another discussion for another day. But at the end of the day, I do think that this is something that had to be done only because it freed up a lot of cap space. Now their cap is, I think, a little bit over $11.6 million, if I'm not mistaken. So it definitely helped them cap-wise. And again, like I said, they handled it a lot better than they did with Jacob Trouba. Now, if they had handled if they had handled Jacob Trouba the way they handled Chris Kreider, we'd be having a whole different conversation about the way the Rangers treat their players. Yeah. But I don't know what happened behind the scenes with Jacob Trouba, and I don't know what happened behind the scenes with Chris Kreider. But clearly, something went on better with Chris Kreider. From what I heard, it was sort of a mutual kind of thing that Chris Drury and Chris Kreider had. Again, I'm not in that GM's office, so I don't know what was said. But this was something that had to be done from a financial standpoint so that the Rangers could load up on more prospects and get a guy like Vlad Gavrikov in the fold, trade away Keandre Miller for more draft picks. So you have that draft capital, maybe go after somebody more promising in the 2026 class. So this is something that had to be done. And I had this conversation last year with somebody on my show. His name is Jeffrey of a show called Mind Your Pucking Business. Go subscribe to him on YouTube. Clever name, I know.
Nice name.
Yes, it is. Jeffrey and I had this discussion. I said that out of Mika Zibanejad or Chris Kreider, which one was more likely to go? I said it was going to be Chris Kreider, only because I don't think Zibanejad's time here is done yet. Hence why I had that bold prediction to begin with. Yeah. But Chris Kreider, he's not getting any younger either. You know, he's going to a new. He's trying to develop a new core in Anaheim. He's reunited with Jacob Trouba and Ryan Strome. He's got a couple of former Rangers on that roster, and I do expect Anaheim to make a little bit of noise this year. They might be fighting for a wild card spot this year, so don't sleep on the Anaheim Ducks. And with Chris Kreider there, it's just going to help them a lot more. More of a veteran leadership there, a guy who knows how to score, especially when it comes to the power play. And he's one of the best with deflecting pucks in the net. We know how that goes. But, again, this was a deal that had to be done. As much as it sucks, it had to be done.
Yeah. One word answer as we start the conclusion here. Now that Kreider came up, and being from Montreal, intentional or accidental, the collision with Carey Price?
Can't believe you brought that up.
Close the show. Come on, man. Come on, really?
How do you slide with feet first?
Y'all are unbelievable, man. But I love you guys. This was a ton of fun.
Jimmy, where can people find you? Where can they see your stuff? Let's recap that again one more time, because I hope people enjoyed you and want to see more of you going forward.
Sure. I just won't go feet first, but no. It's a New York Rangers podcast. You can find me again on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, wherever you're listening to your podcast. Find me on all social media, X and Instagram in particular, at BlueSeats94. Follow me there as well. Use hashtag BlueSeats. And if you want to send me fan mail, send me an email from theblueseats@gmail.com.
And if you're curious to see what Jimmy thinks about Panarin and if he's with the Rangers at the end of the year, click on the YouTube video. He's going to let you know.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you very much,
Jimmy.
This was a lot of fun.
This was awesome.
Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, fellas. Let's do it again soon. It's been a blast. Thank you.
Awesome.
Take care.